Kia ora, Gemini. Thanks for joining me. This is your reading for the full moon in Leo, which is happening here in Aotearoa. Tomorrow on the 5th, it's the 4th here, so thank you for tuning in. Please do like and comment and all of that, because it really helps to change or shift the algorithm, so more people can see these videos. And do check out the collective and the other titles that might stand out for you, remembering that these are very general readings. So this full moon in Leo, let's see. Let's get some cards out for you. Just for Gemini, please. That's right. And one more. Okay, and we always go through and clarify with a few other decks. So we've got, interesting, so we've come out with a kind of ending of sorts. We've got the 10 of Swords. We can't really, that's the end of the line when we get to the 10 of Swords in the Thoth deck. It's called Ruin. But there is because we basically, our mind is our biggest weapon, which we use primarily against ourselves. And of course, there's an epiphany moment within this card, because we actually realize, it's, you can't deny the, the great gift of critical thinking. But the mind also works in many ways, does it not, beyond critical thinking. It can be, we damage ourselves is what I'm trying to say with it. So there is an epiphany moment. At the end of this, we've reached the end of the suit. We're moving into a different zone from that point. And hopefully it's like overcoming some kind of, lesson, I guess. Yet another lesson. We have the 8 here, the 8 of Discs. We've been working hard. Now, there may have been a confusion in the direction in which you are working. I mean, that in a sense of, so what am I trying to perfect? Am I going off on too many tangents here? What do I actually focus on? For some reason, I think there's possibly that you've come to the realization that, it's focusing on a particular thing here. I say that because, and working away, it can be creative, it can be avoidance. It can be avoiding that, but you can't avoid it. But you know what I mean? The 8 of Discs can be about, using work as an avoidance. The thing is, Gemini, whether it's that, whatever it is, I'll stick with the narrative of working, actually being focused and working away and figuring that out. Okay, I'm going to focus on this. We want to protect those new creations that we will be offering out there to the world, to others. We then have the Hermit, shining a light internally, making that choice to go on a hero's journey. It's a tough journey. It can happen at many points throughout life. It's a card of great service, actually, because when I speak of, the swords being, we hurt ourselves with swords, and in the doing of that, we're hurting others too. Ignorance is not bliss. And there's the other side of that, that's, too much information. It's all just sort of like magpie stuff, isn't it? We're picking this, we're picking that, we're just picking whatever looks shiny. There comes a point sometimes that we need to go inward, and this is that Virgo card, the hero's journey, I guess, you know, where the hermit goes inward and looks at, what more can you say? We've got Anubis jumping around here. We look in those dark corners for insight. And in the process of doing that, often we can be the internal guiding light becomes a guiding light for others. So it's a great thing. We have another 8 coming up at the end, 8 of Cups. This is a card of a level of emotional detachment, or more so objectivity, which we do need to try and encourage in ourselves sometimes. Because sometimes we do need a bit of a buffer zone, this emotional objectivity. We look at that in our lives. Yeah, we encourage it within ourselves. Let us look. We're going to clarify Gemini. Lovely twins. We're going to clarify 10 of Swords. This sort of epiphany, epiphany moment. And these moments, this always seems to happen. We get the 10 of Swords. You see the hand gesture. There's a similarity to a certain degree with the Capricorn reading. You might want to look at that. This hand gesture exists within the Hierophant. Spiritual information, not religious. We're talking spiritual information, an epiphany of sorts, an understanding of what? Congruency, balance? Yeah, probably, because we've got justice. Beautiful red robes of truth, justice, balance, one sword only. We understand the need for internal balance, I guess. We need to see that in the world, actually, in the external world. But that congruency and integrity. As I said, there's some element of this whereby we know the mind as a sword. If we're continuously hurting ourselves with that, you can be rest assured that we are hurting other people also, because it's about truth, because it's about personal truth and integrity and congruency within yourself, beyond your own ego. It's very interesting, Gemini, very interesting. Let's look at the 8 of Discs. This is work. It's taking us somewhere that we want to go for a change. It's not a distraction. We're on this path. We are bringing our efforts, our thoughts into form here. Whatever happens along the way, we are propelled by that spark of the Ace here and the 2 of Wands. We understand what's within our domain, what's within our personal domain that has nothing to do with anyone else. And let's see, the Hermit, the hero's journey, shining the light. Wheel of Fortune. It's a good thing to do. A bit of self-reflection never goes astray, Gemini. And we have a homecoming. I do think here that the sense of a kind of homecoming within yourself is primarily at the forefront here in this reading. And it is also a key to that Wheel of Fortune, that you get another spin here. There are some harsh, hard lessons over the last maybe 3 or 4 years, or since, I don't know, about 2018 maybe, if not longer. There are a few lessons, that had to get played out here, and it seems that it's all coming to a kind of a point. And when I say that, we have the Ace of Swords. What are we talking about here? We're talking about personal truth. And that's not an illusion. It's something that you find within yourself. So it's pretty interesting. 8 of Cups, Gemini. It's all a bit sort of serious, isn't it? 8 of Cups. Yeah. Because sometimes, I think it's often a habit, people are always questioning other people's integrity. And sometimes, it's like, but what about your own? You know what I mean? What about your own? We tend not to sort of look at that. But, and I'm a Gemini, so I, sometimes get a bit carried away. It's sort of like, yeah, but what about my own? So we have a level of 8. We've got 8 of Cups, another card assessing here. That golden horizon line becomes apparent in the 2 of Cups, where that is the background. 2 of Cups being ultimate balance, harmony, equanimity, whether it's within or without, reciprocity. In this 8, slight delay there, we're walking away. We're walking towards that golden horizon line to find the other 2 cups. For the ultimate goal of emotional satisfaction, I guess, or satiety, which we know is not, is still, like any state, is a moving, in a moving landscape, and will only last for a period of time. But there's a purpose to all of this, So this level of objectivity, giving yourself some space between you and the rest of your world, like a buffer zone. You don't need to be bombarded all the time by others or by information or whatever it is. To clarify that 8, I'm going on a bit here. First and foremost, we have a card of assessment, the 7 of Swords. I think for some Geminis, you've come to this understanding, to this something within yourself. We get the 7 of Swords. It is a card of deception, but it can be. But it's also about the internal saboteur, our self-saboteur, of which we all have. It's just one of those solid sort of, one of the 4 solid archetypes there, and how we can let ourselves down with our behaviour at times. Possibly how others have let us down. But of course, as I said before, we question others' integrity, but often without looking at what we're doing with our own. And integrity is very much bound up with our own sense of our own power, personal power, is it not? With that 7, we get the beautiful High Priestess. So we're talking about a kind of inward journey as much as moving through some sort of life lessons here, I guess. Gemini, we have the opportunity with the High Priestess to, I guess, to take some time out to recognize that our intuitive capabilities are equally important as our mind. That sometimes we find a little bit more what is true for us within the High Priestess's highways, byways, rooms, mansions. Now, let's get a little rock mineral crystal. We've got for you smoky quartz. Gemini dispels negative energy, home protection, earth connection, and achieving career success. Well, I could do with a bit of that career success at the moment. So on that note, take good care. Enjoy this beautiful full moon in Leo. Dance, dance, and dance is all I can say. It's very hot here. We're having a bit of a heat wave. And a lot of pretty serious weather events in the north of the country over the last week. So all heart sent thoughts go to everyone up in Auckland. Okay. On that note, ka kite, bye, Gemini.